Where to retire is a passionately important decision for all of us. As seen from my previous videos on retirement, which I will link up here, many people were curious and wanted to know, as an immigrant who has lived in Canada for over 25 years, where do I want to retire? That is a $1 million question.
Don't waste your time comparing yourself to others in retirement. Look, sometimes you're ahead and sometimes you're behind. But don't compare yourself with your neighbors who just bought 2 brand new cars, or they went to Hawaii and took 4 vacations a year and have that second vacation home. Look, if you have a moderate income, do what is comfortable for you and live on what you got. You know, the race is long, and in the end, the race is only with yourself.
Don't let others dictate your plans. At the end of the day, people don't care. They may care a little, but they don't care nearly as much as you think they're going to care. So you need to do the things that you want to do. You know, at the end of the day, people are busy and they're leading their life and you're leading your life.
Hello everyone, my name is Diakola. Welcome back to this side of life. And if you're new here, welcome and thank you all for joining me today. As we get older, like me, we start to think about our retirement. And one of the biggest decisions that we have to make about retirement is, where do we retire? Where do we want to spend our retirement years? As I think about this question, and as you do too, wherever you are, whether in Nigeria, Canada, US, UK, Europe, Australia, or anywhere in the world, I think that there are 3 major factors that are very important to consider. The first factor that you need to consider to determine where you should retire to is how much money you have or will have when the time comes for you to retire. In Canada, the average amount that you need to have to retire, they say, is 1.7 million Canadian dollars. And the amount of money you have by the time you retire depends on a lot of things. Like, if you have a mortgage, have you paid it off? Have you paid off credit card debts? Have you paid up any other loans that you have? What about your children? Do you still have dependent children, or are your children out of the house and independent, are able to stand on their own and don't need your financial help? These are factors that determine how much money you will have at the time of retirement. Also, do you have investments that will be yielding you income in your retirement? And do you have a strong marriage? Believe it or not, your marital status actually does impact your financial health generally, and especially at the time that you retire. So, how is your home life? Having said all that, your choice of retirement location will depend on how much money you have accumulated by the time you retire. For example, if you lived in Canada like myself and you have more than $1.7 million saved up at the time you are retiring, then you might decide to retire in Canada. Or if you don't have that much money, then maybe you might look for a cheaper place to retire. Maybe you are in the US, and for example, it is a very different thing to retire in Hawaii versus retiring in Mississippi, because Hawaii is the most expensive place to retire in the US and Mississippi is the least expensive place. And if you don't have that 1.7 million for Canada, then you may not be able to retire in Canada. So you need to think about other places that are more affordable for retirement. You could decide to go back to Africa, like myself. I could decide to go back to Nigeria, because by the time I convert all the money that I have in my retirement to Nigerian currency, it will go a long way to make my retirement more comfortable in Nigeria than it would be here in Canada. Also, there are so many options of places to retire in the world that are quite affordable. Some of the cheapest places in the world to retire include the Philippines, Portugal, Malaysia, Mexico, Thailand, and Vietnam. But don't take my word for it. Do your research. Google is your friend. Go on Google and research about the cost of living in different parts of the world and which places will suit your budget the most. The second major factor to consider when you are trying to determine where to retire to is, what kind of lifestyle are you looking for in your retirement? Are you looking for an active type of lifestyle? Do you, for example, like to play golf? I know some people do. And you want to live in a place where you can be playing golf to your heart's content. Or maybe you like to swim and so you want to live in a place where you can always go swimming. Or do you like the sun? Like some people like the beach. Do you want to live by the beach? Or do you want to live a life of volunteering and philanthropy? Do you want to be a missionary? Do you want to help people in remote places, for example? Do you want to live a village life? We had an example of a doctor who went back to Nigeria from abroad and started a clinic in his village. Do you want to live that village type of life where you are growing your own food and eating your own food? Do you want to live in the city? Do you like going to shows and musical concerts and living where everything happens all around you? Is that the kind of lifestyle you want? Or maybe you want a very quiet lifestyle and you want to be involved in your community, helping to develop social services for your community. You might want to live the kind of life where you sit at home, you have a house help and a gardener and a cook and a driver and everybody's waiting on you, and you have parties to attend every weekend and life is good. You might choose that kind of life as well. Some people like to still keep their part-time job. They don't want to completely stop working during retirement. And then you will have to think about where would you retire to, where you can still do what you do. Maybe you are artistic. You want to, like myself, do YouTube in your retirement. Then you have to think of the logistics, like where is it that will give you those requirements that you want. And some people still want to do some things that they've always wanted to do. Like, for example, maybe they've always wanted to learn about history or something, and they want to go to school for that. Some people want to travel. Like, if you want to travel in your retirement and you don't want to really stay in one place, then you have to think about that too. Where would be your base? Where will you be traveling from? And all that. So yeah, the kind of lifestyle that you want to live in your retirement matters a lot as to where you decide to retire. And finally, the third major factor to consider to determine where you would retire is your family, right? Where is your family located? These days, we have our families scattered all over the world. Family is very important, and so you need to think about where you will be located when you are retired that will be close to family. And by family, I do mean your immediate family, your nuclear family, as well as your extended family. And when we talk about family, one thing that I think about is, just like the Bible says, there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. There are some friends that have become your family. So you need to think about that too. Where will your children be? Where will your grandchildren be? That requires that you really think about that place where you need to be in your retirement, in your old age, that will be favorable to seeing and being around the people that you love and the people that love you. Especially as you get even older and are not able to travel as much, then you need to find a place that will be convenient for your family to visit you and spend time with you. That is very important. So considering all these three major factors, where am I on this decision? Let's have a drum roll. Yes, I do have several options, right? As a Nigerian, I can always go back to Nigeria in my retirement. I can decide to stay in Canada, or I can choose any of those other countries where life is more affordable to retire. I can decide to retire anywhere in this whole wide world. But one thing I can tell you is that family is very important to me. I would like to retire in a place where I can see the people that I love and they can come and see me, and it will not be too much of a hassle to travel or to get there or to come back. That is very important to me. I would also like to live an active lifestyle as much as I can, not always indoors, that I can travel, I can see places as much as I still have the strength when I'm not too old. I would really like to travel when I'm retired. So, who knows where all that will take me? The jury is still out on my decision on where to retire. How about you? What is the most important factor in your decision on where to retire? And have you made up your mind? Have you made your decision? Let us know in the comment section below. And the final thing I would just say about this today is that just as those clips that we saw at the beginning of the video, we shouldn't let other people determine what we do. We shouldn't let other people determine what our decision is, where we would retire. we should look at our own situation and our own circumstances. And as a Christian, what is the will of God for you and for me for our retirement? We should consider that as well to make that decision on where we want to retire. You know, like the Bible says, comparing themselves with themselves, they are not wise. So yeah, let us not compare ourselves with other people. Like I always say, everybody's path is different. The way one person will live their life is different from the way another person will live their life. Where one person will retire to is different from where another person will retire to. It depends on God's plan for you and your purpose in life. So let each person weigh all these options and come to the decision that works for them. I hope I've been able to put across my point. But for now, for me, like I said, the jury is still out. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me again. Please let me know your thoughts about this retirement decision of where to retire to. I would really like to know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know whenever I upload new videos. Also, stay tuned to this channel for much more interesting content coming your way. Until I come your way again, until the next video, you go out and make it the best days of your life. Bye!